and welcome to the very first episode of Kick Butt Turbo Nerds. I am your best friend, Neil Califf.
And I am your other best friend, Camden Nikolai.
We are here to kick butts and be nerds, and we're all out of butts. So we're going to get started with our very first episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is our show. We talk about stuff that we like or stuff that we find interesting. We discuss it with the other person. And surprises, nope. The topics are a surprise each episode, not only to each other, but to our audience. So it's fun time.
It's going to be really fun.
Yeah.
And we hope you enjoy. So
yeah.
Without further ado, let's get
into
started.
Our first topic.
Camden, what do you got?
So I found this thing on YouTube like 3 weeks ago from this guy. His name is Wendigoon on YouTube, and he did a video essay on this world building project called the Mystery Flesh Pit National Park. Really cool. Really, like, almost, what's the fucking word? Lovecraftian.
Okay.
Like, horror. That kind of stuff. Like
Lovecraft. I know he was a bad man.
I know he was a bad man. But he's dead now. And actually, I wrote that, so it was all me. Anyways, so the overarching story is basically there was a mining company that was doing an expedition for like oil mining, and they came across this thing. It was like a huge orifice in the ground. It's
spooky.
Like, yeah, and it's like living. They can see this thing moving. It has blood vessels. It's a living thing, and they go down in this thing, and it goes on for miles, like thousands of miles. Like there's an infographic of basically charting how far down it goes, and they couldn't even go as far down as it went because they didn't have the technology to keep going lower. So like this thing goes on for forever underground.
Okay.
And it's in this tiny little, like outside of this tiny little town in Texas, and the guy who finds this is an oil miner, and he contacts this company called Anodyne, who then basically goes in, and while doing research on this place, and it's like figuring out what this thing is, they also go through the process of turning it into a national park, which is so cool. And I really recommend that you guys check out the website as well.
So what exactly is it? It's a comic? It's a story?
No, it's like just like a world building project. If you go on mysteryfleshpit.tumblr.com, you can see like he's the guy who made it. I think his name's Trevor Roberts. Yes. He writes like all of the lore behind it. He's written things that are like from the people who worked in the park.
That's cool.
From people who did like expeditions of the superorganism, which is what they call it. He's made fake tourist posters and postcards, all that stuff. It's fantastic.
That's really cool. That's the stuff that I really like. That kind of like that immersive kind of story.
I've literally held off telling you about this until we recorded.
That's really cool.
I would have told you about it sooner because I love it and it's all I've been thinking about.
Is it like a collaborative thing, or is it like a creepypasta, like a SCP type thing?
Kind of, but it's like one guy building.
It's just him. Himself. Okay, that's cool. I did. Like last year, out of nowhere, I don't even know how it started. I think it was literally just because it was recommended to me on Reddit. But I fell into just a rabbit hole of SCP stuff because I'd never
SCP stuff is so
heard of it.
Interesting to me.
I'd literally never heard of it until it was like recommended to me on Reddit, and I just fell in this rabbit hole of just reading one after another. I looked up the creepiest ones. They're so interesting and just like
I love reading horror things. I can't do like horror movies or anything like that because
same.
I get too anxious. But I think that it's just interesting. Like I love the horror genre to read, and it's very interesting.
Yeah, like again, I love reading Lovecraft. I'm not a big horror movie guy at all.
No, I can't do it. I'm too anxious of a human being to deal with all that. But anyways, because it is a giant body, there's a giant organism. He has all the organs, all of the organs in this thing.
Gross.
Yeah, and there's things living inside of it, like bacteria.
Ooh,
like
gross.
Giant bacteria that like look basically like huge lobster crab things, and then like big worms. It's cool. And then there's an organism that lives inside of it that is called the amorphous shame
Okay.
that is theorized to be a descendant of like a weasel, and it has just turned into a bunch of organs that live inside the folds of this thing's like like I don't even know. It's crazy. But basically, yeah, it's so interesting. I love it so much. It's just so cool. He's Trevor Roberts.
See, I was gonna say, like, is he an author? Like, does he write novels? Is this his career? Like, where'd he come
I think
from?
this is like, I am not certain where he came from, but I know he's an author and he does the illustrations as well. So,
Oh, nice.
wherever he came from, he's so talented and so creative and is just so skilled at putting this out there in a way that makes it not only interesting, but accessible. Like, you don't have to read every little thing to be interested in it and want to create content for it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he also goes by Strange Vehicles, I believe, on social media. I'm not too
Cool.
certain.
Shout out. Our first shout out. Go follow him.
Yeah, he has a Patreon, T_Roberts. Seriously, go support him. He's fucking fantastic.
Cool. This is also like the first episode, and it's something that I didn't know about previously, so I have to
Yeah.
go check this out. That's very exciting for me.
Yeah, well, that's why I didn't tell you about it, because I knew you would like it, because especially because you love story building to the point
Yes.
of detail and detail and detail, and like this guy he has illustrations of like the visitor center, which is in the mouth or like in the throat of this
Cool.
thing, and it's so cool. There's like a wildlife incident report, like if you get attacked by one of these huge bacteria monsters, like to report it to the park rangers. He's made designs for the ranger outfits and like all of the things. And then there's also a map
How long
And-
has he been like doing this? Is it
for a
old?
while. No, it's not old. It's
But he's like still doing it.
yeah, I'm in the Discord for it. There's a Discord.
Oh, cool.
I can send you an invite if you want.
Sure.
But he like talks in there, he interacts with people. He's so talented.
Whoa. Oh, this is like this map straight up looks like something you would pick up at a national park.
I literally know. That's what I'm
That's
saying.
so cool.
It's so cool. So I'll just send you a few examples of like the stuff that he does.
Okay.
And like I said, all of this is available on the Tumblr, as well as he has a merch shop it's like a souvenir gift shop. It's so cool.
So cool.
Um,
Can we read something here? I'll read something from this map. Get a grip. While the maw, entry orifice, may appear frightening to animals and small children, every effort has been made to ensure your safety and well-being while within the park. A short educational film outlining major security features of the park plays in the main visitor center IMAX theater. Like, it's got like commercial partners down at the bottom. It's got a
yeah, it has
is that a
Applebee's-
Chili's
or,
to go?
No, yeah, it's a Chili's to go.
a Hard Rock.
yeah,
yeah.
which is very on brand, I think.
Yeah.
So, anyways, it's so cool.
Cool. I love this.
He has a YouTube channel where he puts like, I'm gonna get into. There was an incident in 2007 in this universe. It is a now defunct national park and it's dormant, but it's so cool here. I'm not gonna send you the organisms because I know that you're weird about bugs and they look like
Yeah,
bugs.
I don't love bugs. I
know.
like creepy
Which is sad
things.
because I love bugs.
Yeah, I know. I'm okay. I'm better with like reptiles because I know you love reptiles too. I'm better with reptiles.
Yeah, but I know that you don't like them as much as I like them, which
I
is
know.
fine with me. I don't mind. I don't think you're heartless or anything, don't worry. Anyways, it's just so neat, and like there's even details of like a flesh pit worker who basically does terrain in the flesh pit and like cuts open and solders the flesh in a big
Whoa.
Yeah,
Like
there's
like a
like a big
groundskeeper.
car. Almost, but it's like a whole team of them. It's like an excavation team, and they have these like big vehicles that are just cutting and traversing this being.
Interesting. Is there okay? No, I don't want spoilers, I guess. But is it like
Yeah.
is it chronological? Is there a beginning to start at, and then like a story of it develops?
There is kind of, but it's mostly like there's not like a story of like one guy. Like there's
Okay.
kind of a story of one guy,
Does
of
it-
the guy who found it,
Yeah.
and then the story of Anodyne, the company that takes over, and then the story of what I'll get into in a second, which is the 2007 incident that was the demise of the park overall.
Does it develop like what it is and where it came from at all, or is it just
No.
like not at
No.
all?
No. And that, I think, is probably one of my favorite parts, is that you don't know how long it's been there. You can assume forever, but they just found this thing, and I think, what is it? 1973 is when they first found it. So, or that's the second time that we get a letter from the guy who found it, whose name is Jim Jackson. So, it's super cool. And I'm going to get into the 2007 incident real quick.
Okay.
So basically, how it's referred to scientifically is the Permian Basin superorganism. And this is the 2007 disaster. So basically what happened was, it was 4th of July, and they decided to keep the park open for longer, which meant that there was a reduced night staff because it was open for longer on a short notice. They basically decided that day that they were going to have the park hours extended. And basically all of this culminates in, there's too much fluid coming from the, like, they have these pools of the endocrine system that are like pools of hormones that people can sit in, and it has like aphrodisiacal properties, it has healing properties. It's crazy. So there's like no drainage, and this thing starts to choke, basically. And to get it to stop choking and stop coughing, they inject it with this like sedative, basically, with these huge needles that are going into this thing. And that doesn't work, and it makes the organism vomit, which basically makes the visitor center fall, and the whole visitor center goes into an electrical reset. Everything is breaking. The visitor facility is unable to be reached by the ground level of like the orifice. So people at the top cannot get down below. And the people that are in the elevator up to the top are trapped, and they're melting in stomach acid.
Jesus.
Yeah. And this thing, it's so fucking crazy. The organism, oh, it's so crazy.
Take your time.
It's so crazy. There's people near the entry orifice that are trying to climb out of the mouth, but can't because it's raining outside, and the surfaces are slippery, and the thing just vomited. And there is a chyma slurry that erupts from the CHYMA MA Emma MA CHYMA slurry, which is what I believe to be, I don't know. I looked it up on Google. It's only found in this. But it is ejected from the orifice in a geyser of several hundred meters in height.
Ew.
Oh, it's just vomit. Okay.
Ew. Okay.
Yeah. And several pieces of large undigested organic matter crush vehicles and damage windows. After the several-minute-long ejecta event, a deep and incredibly loud roar emits from the entry orifice as ground tremors intensify further. Large extremities begin surfacing through bedrock and soil.
What?
Approximately 30 kilometers to 120 kilometers from the entry orifice. That is how big this thing is. And we don't know what the extremity is. Like, it could have been an arm, it could have been a finger, it could have been a fucking fingernail. Who knows? And it's 30 to 120 kilometers away from the mouth of this thing. And the acrid smell of the ejecta can be detected as far as, like, I think it's like Odessa, Texas is, I think, 50 miles or something like that away. So, I don't know. Don't quote me on that. I'm small. And basically, all data connection with the visitor center is severed. And the only thing that really saves this thing is redacted. They have a final failsafe, and in the contingency like in the whole form, it is one of the only pieces that is redacted.
Whoa.
So we don't know for
We'll
sure
never
what the
know.
contingency measure is. But there's a very popular theory that it has to do with another piece of lore that has to do with Native American people worshiping this superorganism to keep it appeased.
Whoa.
So, yeah, there's a whole sign that says
that
like,
right
do
there
not...
is pretty Lovecraftian.
Yeah, it's sick. And there's like a whole sign that's like, the beast will not help you. You cannot help the beast. Do not come close to the beast. Like 6 people have died trying to communicate with the beast. Like, it's a whole thing. Anyways,
wow. Anyways,
after that has happened, they find out that 3 of the interpit life forms, so those bacteria-like things, have also been ejected onto the surface, and they are around the size of a small school bus, and they attack people. So 15 visitors are injured, and 7 are hunted by these life forms. And finally, the park staff managed to kill them, the life forms. And so there's even more people that are hurt. It's just crazy. And the amount of detail that goes into this whole story building, this world building, is
that's
fantastic.
incredible.
Fantastic. It's great. Like I said, I highly recommend that you guys check it out.
If someone wanted to start getting into it, what would be the best way to do that?
Wendigoon on YouTube, he made a video that's like an hour and a half long that goes into way better detail than I think I could ever do justice. And that's how I found it, because the name Mystery Flesh Pit, I'm like, sign me up.
Yeah.
Just the whole horror of it being this unimaginable sized organism that is turned into a national park because of capitalism and humans' inability to have any sort of self-preservation or respect for any other life form. It's just, mwah. It's so good. It's fantastic. The art is great. The world building is fantastic. Everything is so well thought out and put together, and I don't think there's a better person to make it. I can't think of any single creator that I know of that could do anything close to this. And it's just genius, and it's fantastic, and everybody should know about it because it's great, and I love it, and it's all I can think about. So yeah, cool. That was my thing. I was very excited
I love
to
that.
talk about it.
Yeah,
I thought you would. I really, I need you to know, it's been 3 weeks to a month since I figured this out. Like, I looked at this for the first time. It has taken everything in me not to tell you about it. Because I know other people that I can talk to about it. I think that's the only thing that saved me.
Yeah, well, now that you've told me about it, I'm going to probably fall into a rabbit hole of this, and then we're just going to talk about it forever. So
yeah, so...
Well, I'll make up for it.
Yeah. But the creator uploads stuff to his YouTube as often as I think it's a minimum of twice a month he posts new stuff.
Okay.
He has a Discord, there's a Patreon, there's a subreddit, there's everything. Go give it a look-see. Take a little gander. It's fantastic, and it will not disappoint you. So yeah.
Fun.
Yeah. Fun in the flesh pit.
Fun in the flesh pit. Okay.
All right, what's your thing, my guy?
My thing. Bit of a tonal shift here.
Yeah.
My thing is Disney's American Legends.
Okay.
First off, do you remember this?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. You'll probably remember at least bits and pieces of it.
Probably.
I have it on VHS. It is one of the tapes that I watched as a kid with my siblings, just on repeat, all the time. I have it with me in my room right now next to the little TV that I use because it's got a VCR attached to it, and that's how I watch all the VHS tapes from when I was a small child that I like to rewatch. It is an anthology hosted and I guess narrated by James Earl Jones, who's just like sitting in a rocking chair talking to the audience. And it's an anthology of short films, Disney short films from throughout the decades of American folk heroes. So it starts with John Henry.
I think I remember this now.
I'm sure you do, because it is the John Henry one. I'll come back to, because
is there a Paul Bunyan one?
It's John Henry, and then Johnny Appleseed, and then Paul Bunyan,
yes,
and then the Brave Engineer.
Yes, I knew the Paul Bunyan one.
The Paul Bunyan one, which I didn't know until literally just now when I was like doing some digging into this. He's voiced by Thurl Ravenscroft, who I did not know that he voiced it. He's for those of you who don't know, he sang the "You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch." That's him. He's got that voice. Everybody knows his voice. He does a bunch of Disney stuff.
Whoa.
He does a lot of the, like, in Haunted Mansion. I think he sings Country Bear Jamboree. He sang the original Yo-Ho Pirate's Life for Me.
Did he?
Yeah.
That was him?
That was him, and Tiki Room at Disney. So, like, he's incredible.
That's great.
And I did not know, but he apparently voices Paul Bunyan. And so, like, so it starts with John Henry, which is one of my favorite short films of all time. The music is beautiful. Maybe I'll throw a little bit in there if it's possible. If that's, I don't know, it's our first episode. Maybe that's not going to be fair use, but maybe like 10 seconds of it. It's the one that goes, John Henry, John Henry, John Henry was a mighty man. Does that ring any bells to you? I feel like people who are listening to this will probably remember.
I think that was a really beautiful rendition that you just did.
Oh, thank you.
So,
yeah,
yeah.
Thank you. It starts. It's John Henry.
Already. You're
I know, because it's musical. I think each one of these. Actually, I don't remember Paul Bunyan or Brave Engineer quite as well, but the John Henry one is my favorite, which is why I'm focusing a lot on that one. I'll talk about all of them too, but the John Henry one, he's born with a hammer, right? And he grows up into this just like incredibly just beefy man.
Yeah,
and
I remember the John Henry one too as well.
Yeah, he has to, like, he's going up against the railroad company who have this big new fancy machine that's gonna bore through the mountain, and he has to do it by himself. And he's swinging his hammer back and forth, and he's like tunneling through the mountain, and it's like the animation is so beautiful. It's black, and then it's just flashes of light and color as he's just like hammering his way through, and it cuts between him and the machine that's digging its way through, and it's just so beautiful. I haven't seen it in years. I don't know why I didn't rewatch it before we're doing this, but I can guarantee I'm gonna rewatch it as soon as we're done recording.
Probably. You have the Mystery Flesh Pit Tumblr open while you're rewatching.
I got Mystery Flesh Pit, and I got
John Henry.
And you got John Henry.
Let's go.
And it's just, and it ends, and he stumbles out of the mountain, and he like falls to his knees, and his wife comes over, and she puts his hammer in his hand and starts singing to him, and he gets up, and he finishes laying the tracks, and it's just so beautiful. And it is. And
there's also a very darling scene in the John Henry one specifically when I don't know if it's when he meets his wife or like when they're romantically involved for the first time, but it's when he's arm wrestling all of the other men in town.
Yes.
And she sits down in front of him and catches him off guard by kissing him, and then wins the arm wrestle. It's just so darling. I'm getting
so emotional just remembering this. It's so sweet.
I know, me too.
For those of you who don't know about this anthology, but specifically the John Henry short film, please go find it. It's one of the most beautiful pieces of animation, of storytelling ever made.
It's that specific one is one of my favorite Disney ones. I just didn't know it was a part of the classics.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that there was a classics anthology.
This anthology, I don't know why, because like I think they were all released individually, and then they made this anthology. I don't know why it's narrated by James Earl Jones, but it's just him like sitting in a rocking chair in like this little folksy set, just giving like a little intro to each of them, and it's just so. The whole thing is so... I mean, it's nostalgic for me, but I think it just has a general... I think it'll be nostalgic for anyone. I don't even think you have to have watched it as a kid to feel nostalgic, because it's just got that vibe.
It's all 2D, obviously.
Right, it's that classic hand-drawn 2D animation.
And it's very... Yes, mouse bad. Disney mouse bad, but also... It's very nice. It's very
Yeah.
gorgeous.
So the John Henry one, I guess, was released in 2000. So that was the most recent one. But Johnny Appleseed is from 1948.
Really?
Which I also, like, I guess I never really thought of it when I'm a kid. You know, it's just animation's animation. I can tell that it's old because it's not, you know, Pixar, but it's, you know, it I can't really tell when it's made.
Yeah, you don't think about how old Betty Boop is until you
Right.
watch something directly afterwards.
Yeah. So like the Johnny Appleseed one's from 1948, but it also, I feel like it just holds up. Like, it's just Johnny Appleseed, and I don't even remember enough about it to even remember if there's like a conflict in it, but I just remember Johnny Appleseed just like sitting with he's got like a pot on his head, and he's just like, the way I remember just so clearly and specifically, the way that he peels an apple. He's just like, he's got a knife and he just like spins the apple, and it's just like one clean spiral, and it was the most satisfying thing as a kid.
Baby.
Right? It's the most perfect thing. And
Off topic,
he's just like
I've wanted to do that. I've wanted to do that ever since I was a kid.
To peel an apple in one
Perfectly.
fell spiral.
Yes. Only the closest I think I will ever get is an apple like spiralizer, like the thing that's meant.
Yeah, but that doesn't count.
But it's a machine.
It's right. It's a machine.
It's
back
built
to the.
To do that.
Right. It's John Henry. You gotta do it by hand. You can't let the machine win.
John Henry.
Everything comes. It's all John Henry.
It's all John Henry from here on out. It's always been John Henry.
It's all John Henry.
It's always been John Henry.
It's all John. Anyway, so Johnny Appleseed is also a really great one. I just remember him just like walking around. I remember his whistling. That's like the thing that he does in that one, is he whistles, and for some reason that sticks with me too. And the Paul Bunyan one is also just so sweet because it's about him, and it's about his blue ox Babe. And you remember Babe? He's just like a sweet blue ox. And Paul Bunyan is just this giant. It starts with him like washing up on the beach in a cradle as this giant baby.
This huge baby.
And they just like adopt him, and they give him an axe, and he becomes a lumberjack.
As a baby.
Well, I don't remember if he becomes a lumberjack as a baby.
Baby lumberjack.
Baby lumberjack. That's our next short film. Is a prequel, I guess not it's an alternate timeline where Paul Bunyan becomes a lumberjack when he's still a baby.
At 2 days old.
2 days old.
That's how strong he is. That's how big of a baby he was. He said, "This is a toothpick to me." I'm looking at him.
He's a big man.
On
Are you looking at a picture of him as a baby? Everybody at home, search up Paul Bunyan baby and just see what comes up, because none of these.
Oh my god!
None of these are it. None of these are the Disney one. Oh my god, these all suck.
Baby. This first picture that shows up is a picture of him being drawn in a carriage by a donkey, and he's in a bale of hay that is barely containing his huge baby body. And this woman is walking next to him, carting a milk bottle on her back.
She's got a milk bottle that's the size of
her torso.
Just
her
like
entire body
strapped to her back.
Like that must be, and it's full. It's full. Whose milk is that?
Where did you get all that milk?
Whose milk is that? I'm not finding Paul Bunyan baby.
I had to search Paul Bunyan baby Disney to find
That's
it.
What I'm
baby
looking for
Disney.
now. Oh, he's huge.
But he's so big, and he's got a cute little like Superman tuft of hair in the front.
Yeah.
Just like jet black hair that just sticks up in the front.
Why he
and it took, oh my god,
now.
I remember this. And they have these guys lower in the milk bottle on like a rope. These two guys to like shove it into his mouth because he's ginormous.
I'm looking at that picture right now.
Yeah.
Why?
And they have to bathe him in the ocean. Please don't ever say that again.
Why is baby Paul Bunyan bigger than regular Paul Bunyan?
I don't think that's true.
He's huge.
He is huge.
Ox also big?
His ox is also ginormous. His ox is ox-sized compared to him.
Okay, I couldn't remember if his ox was normal ox or big ox.
His ox is big ox.
Okay. Got it. Thank you for clarifying.
His ox is big ox.
His ox is big ox.
And I mean, I also like I don't even
Ain't
remember
no
if
baby
there's
ox.
I don't even remember if there's conflict in this one either. I feel like there is. There's like some sort of
There
competition.
probably
Yeah,
is.
there's some sort of. Now I'm looking at a description of this because I want to actually remember. I should have done this for the other ones too, but there's like this tournament where you have to like it's like these new people who have this steam powered engine. It's like this. It's again. It's everything's.
Wow. Man versus
John Henry.
machine.
It's
I
man
love
versus
this.
machine again.
I
and
love
so
this
it's like
literary analysis we're
Yeah.
doing of Disney.
it's AP Lit.
classics
I feel like we did
anthology.
this in AP Lit every
Yeah,
week.
we did.
So it's like who can make the
Man versus
biggest
nature?
who can get the
No.
most wood. Is it
Man versus machine.
man versus machine? And I think he wins. But also
Probably.
it's man versus machine, but I don't think it's quite fair cuz he's not really
Because
a man.
Fucking yeah,
He's like
not
70
a man.
men.
He's like he's a lot of men in one big man. He's like the size of 40 men as an infant baby.
Yeah.
That's not a man. I don't know what he is, but that ain't no man.
He ain't no man. Oh, and he loses, I guess. Spoiler, sorry. They at the time is up, they
forgot.
measure their piles of wood, and Paul Bunyan got 240 feet, and everybody cheers for him. But they measure Joe, the bad guy
Joe
with
Mama.
the machine. Joe,
Joe
who's
Mama.
who's
Joe Mama.
we're cutting that out of the podcast.
No. Yeah, we are. But
They
it'd
measure
be funny,
Joe's
though.
pile, and at 240 feet, ...
Measured.
there is an ellipsis in the Wikipedia article,
And
and
1
1
inch.
quarter inch.
What?
So Joe
That
wins.
shouldn't-
And then Paul and
fuck.
Babe despondently walk off into the sunset, never to return. And that's how. But then someone's like, for posterity's sake, they record the legend, and then they some say they went up to Alaska, and that the Aurora Borealis is just Paul and Babe playfully wrestling in the snow.
I like to think that as well.
It's so
No.
sweet.
Paul
Again,
kind of get it though.
He lost. Please, Camden. It's our first episode. I wanted this to just
I
be a
need
straightforward
to be
one.
honest
We're already
with
making
our-
horrible Joe Mama jokes.
It's not like it's going to change. Like
Yeah, I guess. It was just such a tonal shift because your thing was so serious and scary, and there was like no goofing. That's the
Yeah,
thing.
but
I
also
hope
that's-
people didn't tune out after there was no goofing in your thing.
Yeah, they said, "Oh, they're so serious," and then I'm like, "Haha, Joe Mama." Also,
Joe Mama.
Paul Bunyan hit my fucking line.
Baby Paul Bunyan.
Baby, baby Paul Bunyan, Superman.
Baby Paul Bunyan.
Baby Paul Bunyan, big bottle of milk. Oh no, my microphone. Hold on. Okay, that was me clearing my head of Paul Bunyan. I have to get him out of there. He'll be in my dreams otherwise.
He'll be in all of our dreams. How could you
God.
not dream about Paul Bunyan?
He's fine.
But-
Okay,
but-
I'm seriously done. I'm done.
But the brave engineer, he's
Yeah?
got those sideburns and the big giant chin. He's got
Hold on,
like
I
a Stan Smith chin. Unless
Hold
I'm
on,
very
I
wrong,
think-
doesn't he?
To go and
He's got. It's not
people-
quite Stan Smith.
I have to
It's
go
just like
to
big and
Google
round.
Images. No, Neil.
It's just
you're
kind of a
supposed
big-
To be my best friend.
What? What did I
You're
do?
supposed to be. You said, but the brave engineer though. After I was talking about how fine Paul Bunyan is, and then you send me this man. No offense to this man, but he ain't no Paul Bunyan.
But the mutton chops. The mutton chops
And?
don't do it for you.
No, no. No, we talked about 2 fine men in a row. John Henry. I don't know about in real life.
even Johnny Appleseed could do that apple thing, and that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's like he and I could be pals. And then you go, but the brave engineer.
But
Yeah,
the-
sure,
but the
he's a
brave
brave
engineer.
engineer. Yeah,
I also don't remember why.
Engineer,
Okay, this one I
but
remember
also,
the least. Wait, why was he brave? What did he do? He just like pushed his engine to go harder, better, faster, stronger. I think. Yeah, Wikipedia
so
says
brave. Wow.
he fought off some criminals and
Oh.
who were destroying the train tracks. And so to make up for lost time, he runs his engine past its limits, and then he goes down a hill and hits another train. And
Does he die? I would feel really bad if I just.
the conductor attempts to warn him, but he doesn't notice until it's too late.
No.
And they collide and with a large explosion, and the conductor and other railroad employees are able to jump clear of the explosion.
Oh, thank God.
The
I would
Western
feel
Mail is
so
almost
awful
completely
if I
destroyed.
was like, haha, look at this man.
And then he
Paul
died.
Bunyan, John Henry is so hot, and then he fucking dies, but he doesn't, so it's okay.
No, he didn't. It says he arrived at his destination with the remains. Oh, I think I remember this. It's just like at the very end, it just like sort of rolls on down to its destination. I might be totally making that up, but it's like the same thing. I feel like all of them have the same plot where it's like you think the main character's down and out, and then at the very end they like stumble back in
Like,
and just barely make it.
Okay, yeah. Anyways, John Henry and Paul Bunyan hit my line. Brave engineer, so sorry, pal.
Johnny Appleseed, slice my apples.
You. Yeah, you heard Neil. Get on it, pal.
And James Earl Jones, narrate my life, please.
Please. I mean, honestly, if you just think about your thoughts a little bit harder, you could have him do that. Can you imagine if your internal monologue was just...
James Earl Jones.
You just had to think a little extra hard every time.
I'm gonna train myself to only think in James Earl Jones's voice from now on. It can't be that hard, right?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't really think about my internal monologue as it's happening. And if I do think about it, then I'm like, yes, I have it. But...
Anyway.
Oh my god.
One final note, just while I'm on Wikipedia, because
Yeah.
it's our first episode, and we have to let people know what they're in for. The Brave Engineer was written by two separate guys named Dick.
Yeah! Woo!
Dick Kinney and Dick Shaw, two geniuses among men, both of whom named Dick. Thank you very much.
Genius named Dick.
Genius named Dick, my memoir.
Streetcar named Desire.
That's
Streetcar named Dick.
Streetcar named Dick.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's what
it was too bad of a joke that my mouth wouldn't let me say it.
I appreciate that. Well, sorry.
That's pretty much
That's
all
it.
I got
That's all I had too about flesh.
about the flesh.
Yeah,
and
about
the pit.
the flesh of the earth, the large pit beast that done ate a bunch of people.
Paul Bunyan.
It wasn't his fault,
Paul Bunyan could fuck that thing up. That's all I'm saying.
Paul Bunyan. I'm not gonna say that out loud. No, I'm not gonna say.
I think at this point it's implied.
Yeah, I think I've made myself clear about how I feel about Paul and John.
And
But
John.
his wife could also get it. I need
But
to make
also-
this clear
wait,
now.
but doesn't- didn't
men
John-
and women?
Didn't John Henry die at the end?
I hope he doesn't.
I'm pretty sure he does. And then
If
she
he
like
does-
stitches him into a quilt, and they have a baby.
If he does, rest
Yeah.
in peace to
Wait.
a
Yeah.
legend. I mean,
He
he's
at the
dead
end he
now.
collapses from exhaustion, and she puts the hammer in his hand. Oh, that's what happens. I think before I said that she comes over and then he gets back up and finishes, but I think that might have just been me projecting what I hoped happened. To anybody who was screaming at the podcast that I was wrong, don't.
We figured it
We
out.
figured
after
it
I
out.
Made it
He dies
very
from
clear
exhaustion.
That he's attractive.
He dies from exhaustion, and then they have a baby, who I think they also give him a tiny hammer. Maybe
Oh please, that would be so good.
the kid is scared by thunder, and then
Oh.
the mom says that it's just the sound of his dad hammering in the sky.
I'm gonna cry.
I am too. Wow, what a way to end.
What? He could still get it though. He could.
Alfre Woodard played his wife. I didn't know that either. Famous people were in these things, and I did not know as a kid.
Whoa!
That's crazy. I'm gonna learn new stuff about my own things that I talk about on this show.
Yeah, because you were like, it'll be fine.
Because I just totally didn't do any research beforehand. But I think doing a little bit of research during the show is okay.
I mean, yeah,
I don't
it's
know.
fine.
We'll get
It
some
went well.
feedback. It's the first episode.
It's the first episode.
Let us
We did
know
it.
what you think. Comment
Yeah.
down below.
We did it.
We did it.
Anyways.
Thank you all for listening to the first episode of Kick Butt Turbo Nerds, our podcast that might be about baby Paul Bunyan's big baby bottle.
And you could go ahead and follow us at KBTN Podcast on Twitter and Instagram. If you guys have any obsessions that you think might be a good topic for the show, feel free to email us at kbtnpodcast@gmail.com.
Until next time, kick some nerd butts.
Turbo style.
Outro music.